just jumping on to answer one of the questions that I get pretty frequently. For those of you who do not know, I serve first time coaches, right? So those who are looking to turn their experiences and expertise into coaching businesses and coaching programs, really teaching them how to navigate this online space so that way they can begin their transition from traditional 9 to 5s to the online coaching world. So, one of the questions that I get pretty often is around purpose and just not really being clear about what is it that I'm called to do, right? Some people come in with an idea, but almost always there is uncertainty. So, I'm going to show you the 4-step process that I walk my clients through. Let me make sure I have my, yes, okay. Um, And of course, this is the high level view, right? This is me doing the 5-10 minute version versus, the in-depth version, but this will be enough to get you started. All right. So here is our first step. When we start, and for those of you who don't know, if you follow any of my content, then you know that I'm a Jesus freak. So if you're not, then I might not be your person. Well, I'm definitely not your person. But for those of you who are spiritual, Christian, whatever you're calling yourself, then this will be a good fit for you. So our first step is always to focus, number one, on what God said, right? Sometimes I see people building businesses based off of their passion or based off of their interest. And when I start the conversation, well, what did God call you to do? A lot of times there is quietness, okay? And sometimes people have had a conversation at some point, but our first step is to start there, right? You finding your quiet time and talking to God. And let me just throw this caveat in here. I know that sometimes people have, they second guess their ability to hear from God, but partly how you learn to hear your Father's voice is with practice, right? So don't let the fact that you're not 100% sure if this was God or not keep you from actually developing the habit, because the more you spend time with God, the easier it is for you to hear his voice. So that's our step one. So our step two, let me just also say that these 4 steps are required. They're not pick one, okay? If you just do one, you will not be in alignment, okay? And when you are not in alignment, that means you grind and you grind and you grind, and you rarely, if ever, see the results of your labor, right? There is a grind element to entrepreneurship, but the goal is not to stay in the grind place, right? The goal is to be able to get to a place of consistency, not grind. And the way you do that is by staying in alignment. Okay. So that's number one, is understanding what did God say. The reason why we have to add the other 3 steps, because I know sometimes people are like, well, whatever God say is enough. Okay. All right. Well, you try that and see how it works out for you. 9 times out of 10, when God talks to you about your purpose, it is broad, right? It is big. It is not specific. And if you are to build a business, then you are going to have to get specific about what it is that you're called to do. All right. So our second one has to do with your gifts. Again, do not focus first on your passions, because passions do not always equate to money. What does equate to money is what God told you to do and the gifts that he's given you. So this can be a challenge for people when we start talking about gifts, is because a lot of the people who are moving into the coaching space have soft skills versus hard skills. So your hard skills are things like your ability to do taxes, or you can do hair, or some other skill that you can physically see, right? That's a hard skill. The soft skills are things like listening and communication and encouragement and blah, 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 right? Those are things that you can't always see or can't always articulate clearly. And most coaches have more soft skills than they have hard skills. Not all, but most. And so it can be hard to say, okay, well, if my gift is encouraging, how do I turn that into a coaching business, right? But your step 2 is to get crystal clear about what your gifts are, okay? And for those of you who don't know what your gift is, you can take our spiritual assessment. It's completely free, and it will tell you what your primary gift is. So I am a studier of gifts, And there are 7 primary spiritual gifts, right? So for example, my primary gift is leadership. My secondary gift is teaching, right? And so what I understand about gifts is that your second gift lends or leads the way for your first, okay? So as you can see, one of my gifts is teaching, right? This is why I do these videos, because I have this specific talent. So if you want to know what your gift is, it'll tell you your primary one for free. Doesn't cost you anything at all. Let me give you the link here. I should have typed it in here already, but I did not. Okay, so if you go to yourspiritualgift.com, it'll let you take our gift assessment and tell you what your primary gift is, okay? All right, so we got the first 2 knocked out. Now, okay, what's our third step? Remember that there are 4 steps total in you identifying your gift. So then our third one is where we start talking about passion, okay? Again, these go in order. So don't start with passion, because I see a lot of people who are like, well, I just want to do what I love. Okay, well, you're going to have to find some balance with that, because it's your gift that makes room for you, not the things that you love, okay? The things that you love will be connected, but it won't be the same. So when we start talking about your passions, we're essentially talking about, some of them are going to be easy to recognize, right? And some of them you're going to have to do a little bit of digging. So here are a couple suggestions to help you. So first of all, think about what you really love and what you really hate, right? Think about the injustices that you really care about, and the ones that you don't. And specifically, those things that really make you angry or really cause you some kind of hurt or pain, that are not necessarily, I don't want to say not necessarily personal, but so the things that make you cry, maybe it's a YouTube video or commercial, or, there are some things that just trigger something in you. And you want to be able to look at what are the things that cause a lot of pain and hurt and sadness, as well as the things that just make you light up, because somewhere in those 2 are your passion. And I'm putting S here, okay? So then our very last one is you looking at your expertise, right? So sometimes people are building businesses based off of things that they've done in their career, right? So again, if that's you, then identifying your expertise is pretty easy. But a lot of times people are building businesses off of their experience and not necessarily their expertise. So for example, let's say that I was a single mom and I want to build a brand around single co-parenting or single moms or something related to that. Well, just because I've had the experience of being a single mom for 20 plus years does not make me an expert, right? Those are experiences. So expertise is this combination of experiences, education, all of that, okay? But you want to be able to list what kind of degrees do you have, what kind of certifications do you have, what kind of experiences do you have that you have overcome, right? And it's when you combine all 4 of these, okay, is when you get clear about what your purpose is, okay? Again, this is the high level version, because I just want to give you a broad view of what you could be thinking about and working on. I will say that down here where you see my 50K story, I did a 5-part series around spending 50K in my business. And one of the videos, which I think is video 2 of 5, it actually might be 3 of 5, that specifically talks about this aspect. Okay, so you're welcome to search that inside of the group or search that on my public profile, and it will give you a whole nother level of insight related to both gifts as well as your passion. And I think video 4 will also talk about expertise. So Hopefully this was helpful. If you guys have questions, drop them below. Be sure to tag your business bestie, someone else who you know is struggling to identify their purpose, and share the video. Peace.